You get one, the other one doesn't work. Hey, YouTube. All right, we are now live. We're going to have a Pinterest chat today. So if you've never met me before, we've never been introduced, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. I love questions throughout a live stream, so feel free to use that chat. Ask your questions. I'll answer them as we go. This is really for you. Anyways, I know how to use Pinterest, so let's talk about how you can use Pinterest. If we've never met before, my name is Michelle Knight, and I'm the founder and CEO of BrandMary.com. I started my business 8 years ago, and I've been on Pinterest for 7 years. So I've been on Pinterest a really long time, and I have been teaching Pinterest to my clients how to use it in their marketing for about 5 years now, and I am obsessed. If you know me, if you've heard me talk about Pinterest before, if you're a client of mine, let me know, give me a heart, whatever. You know that I am absolutely obsessed with this platform. So before I get into the strategies, I want to talk about why I'm obsessed with this platform. Like, why do I really believe Pinterest is one of the most powerful marketing platforms for entrepreneurs? So the first thing that you need to know about me is that I believe in sustainable marketing. Sustainable marketing is marketing that you can sustain, okay, that you can sustain throughout various seasons of your life, because your life, my friends, is the top priority. We didn't start our businesses to sacrifice our life. We started our businesses to improve our life, okay? Improve our finances, improve our location independence, improve our availability to our family and the time that we get to spend with them. That's why we started our businesses. I feel very confident that you're all here because of that. And when we are thinking about marketing, which is a fundamental of a successful business, you can have an amazing brand, you can have an amazing product, you can have an amazing service, but if nobody knows that it exists, it means nothing. I work with a lot of brands who have been around for years and they're not making money in their business because their marketing is not fitting with their lifestyle. And so years ago, I started coining this term, sustainable marketing, which I feel like a lot of people are talking about now. And I love that a lot of people are talking about it because it's so essential. But sustainable marketing is, how do we market consistently without constantly being on our laptop? How do we consistently get in front of new people with brand awareness? How do we consistently get leads to our website, ideally, but just to our brand, to our shop, whatever it is you are selling? How do we make money consistently? That is the fundamental of a sustainable business. And as I've mentioned, I've been in business for 8 years, and Pinterest has been the number one driver that I have used to not only drive traffic to my website, but to also get leads, email subscribers, and leads in my business. And it is the number one driver for my courses, my membership, and my group programs. Now, I talk a lot about SEO and Google. That's just so you know. I also do one-on-one, and that typically comes from Google search, another sustainable practice. We'll probably talk about that in a few weeks, but right now we're just going to focus on Pinterest, okay? Why is Pinterest so powerful aside from the fact that it's sustainable? All right. One element of Pinterest that is so powerful that really helps with that sustainable aspect is that your content lives a really long time. It's not like many social media channels. It's not a social media channel. Let's just be super clear on that. It's a search engine. It's not like many social media channels where your content might live for a few hours, maybe a day, sometimes a week. TikTok has really kind of honed this. We can see TikToks and different things, the algorithm, months later. But with Pinterest, it is years. Years. The work that I did back in 2017 is still performing for me all of these years later. That is a way to look at sustainable marketing. Okay. Another thing is that it doesn't take a ton of time, because the idea of Pinterest really is, it's a repurposed platform. So rather than having to create fresh new content and fresh new ideas all the time, you're taking a central piece of content that you've already created and you're repurposing it and redistributing it through various graphics, titles, and descriptions on the platform. So it takes a lot less time every single week to go ahead and put your content on there. And I'm going to share with you how I use it every single week. I'm just going to tell you exactly what I do, so that you can see that it truly is easy. Hi, my mom's on Instagram. Hi, Mom. My mom still watches my lives 8 years later, and I love it. She was the only one that watched them all those years ago. Gotta love them. So those are two reasons. The last reason is that, as I've already kind of hinted at, it's a search engine. So not only is Pinterest driving the majority of traffic to my website, and when I say majority of traffic, I'm talking anywhere between 8 to 15,000 website views every single month. Okay. All right. How would that feel to have on your website and know that it's coming from, an hour of work every week? Pretty freaking amazing. Not only is that happening, but also the people who are coming to my website, who are discovering my brand, maybe for the first time, my products, my services, they're specifically looking for what I offer. This is why SEO is so powerful, my friends, because you are essentially meeting someone who is looking for what you provide, looking for a solution to their problem, looking for your product and service, as opposed to social media, which I still use. As many of you know, I'm live on Instagram right now. It's almost like casting a line out and saying, wow, I hope this lands in front of the right person. I hope the right person sees this. That's not how SEO works. It's getting in front of the right person every single time. So these are many of the benefits with Pinterest. And if you've been following my teachings for a while, you know I talk a lot about the customer buying journey. And so Pinterest is really bringing in that ideal customer who's further in the buying journey. Now, we've tested with ads for many, many years. I've used ads multiple ways in my business. Years ago, I was really into Facebook and Instagram ads. Don't really use those anymore. Pinterest ads still my baby. But we've tested this for many years, and I know that we have a higher conversion and a higher buyer intent with Pinterest ads than we ever did with Facebook and Instagram. We might have grown our email list. A lot of people talk about that, right? We got a bunch of people on our email list, but I want to know how many people actually converted. Our conversion rates were always higher. And again, that's just me reiterating the point that it's a search engine, because people were seeing things that they were essentially searching for, leading to my website and ultimately making a purchase decision. So, all right, coffee break time. I hope everyone has their coffee, because I said, let's have a coffee chat. I'm drinking my coffee. So this is why Pinterest is so powerful. And I really stand behind the belief that as an entrepreneur, you can't sacrifice your marketing. You can't. If you want to build a revenue generating business, you cannot sacrifice your marketing. So we have to find a way for your marketing to work for you and your lifestyle. I've had a business for 8 years. I've been a homeschool mom for a year and a half now. I lived in an RV for 2 years and traveled the United States. All of these marketing strategies allowed me to have these amazing experiences. They allow me to run my business. I'm a businesswoman and be a stay-at-home mom, right? And a homeschool mom. And whatever your desire is, or whatever you wanted to start your business, I really believe your marketing has to match what your ultimate desires are. And Pinterest, in my opinion, is the sweet spot. So let's talk about some key elements. I promised you some key elements with Pinterest and how you can start setting yourself up for success on Pinterest. And then I'm going to talk about my strategy. So what I do every single week takes me about an hour to schedule all of my content. I also, again, just want to remind you, I welcome questions. So if you came into this Pinterest curious, you already have questions floating around in your brain, I may answer them. I may not. Pop them in the chat and I'll get to them, right? I'll answer your specific question. Okay. So there are what I believe 4 kind of key elements to Pinterest that kind of differentiates it from other accounts, other types of platforms. Number 1, keywords. Now, we already talked about SEO, okay? We already talked about the importance of SEO. It's a search engine platform. So your research on the platform is really fundamental. The preliminary foundational work that you do on the platform is really going to be the key to your success. Now, inside of my course, Pinterest Mastery, which I'll talk about a little bit later, if you want to take the next step, I'll share how you can do that. I dive into how to do this keyword research on the platform, how to organize your keyword research and have that influence your board titles, the different types of content that you're ultimately putting, and then organizing that all in a beautiful Pinterest planner that I provide so that every time you are scheduling your content every week, you don't have to repeat this research. This is really important. And a lot of people aren't talking about this because you can spend hours and hours every single week on Pinterest if you are having to do your keyword research every single time. But by taking a little bit of extra time in the beginning to set your account up for success, you're going to save yourself time in the long run. I'm all about efficiency. I'm all about saving my time, as we've already talked about. So this really is important. But aside from the preliminary research, keywords are everything. Your keywords play a role in your account name, in your description, in your board titles, in your pins themselves, the graphics, the title on the graphic, the title of the pin, the description, and even the URL. Okay, so there are a lot of these correlations and connections that we have to have with the content that we're sharing, the board that we're saying it goes to, and the blog or the piece of content we're ultimately sending people to. So keywords are so important. And I work with a lot of people who are like, I've been on Pinterest, I've been trying it, I pin my blog once or twice a week. We'll talk about consistency in just a minute. They're like, I've been doing this and it's not working. And when I go in and I look at their account, I see that they're not utilizing the search. They're not utilizing keyword research. So their content isn't discoverable. If Pinterest doesn't know who to show your content to, they're not going to show it to anyone. So keywords are fundamental. They are everything when it comes to Pinterest marketing. And as I mentioned already inside of Pinterest Mastery, I can't even say it. Pinterest Mastery really set you up for understanding how to do keyword research for your business, how to organize that, which is ultimately going to save you time every single week, which is the key to consistency, right? So let me know if you have any questions about keywords. I'm going to move on to the second thing. The second element is a reminder that you are a business. So on Pinterest, it's definitely recommended that you create a business account. Many of my clients and myself included started off with personal accounts. We were using it personally for, our wedding planning or our meal prepping or decorating our house or whatever. You can easily turn your personal board into a business account and then clean it up. Or you can just start a business account if you're fresh to the platform. Why do you need a business account? Number one, analytics. Oh my goodness, analytics. You can really see what type of content does well. You can see what type of keywords are doing well. Data is everything when it comes to marketing. It can be so easy to make an emotional decision, right? Oh, it's not working. But then we look at the data, we're like, oh, it is working. I just need to do X, Y, and Z. Or we think something is working and it's not working, right? Data is everything. So that gives you access to the analytics. The other thing is that as a business account, you need to remember that you are the one providing Pinterest with the content. Now, this is really important because years ago, Pinterest had a completely different strategy. As I mentioned, I've been on Pinterest for 7 years. I've seen all the different strategies. We used to have to pin like 30 pins a day. I'm so glad that's not a thing anymore. We used to repin a lot. A lot of that isn't valid anymore because Pinterest is saying to these business accounts, hey, you are providing the content for all of our users to use. So we want variety. We want you to not just pin the same thing a bunch of times. We don't want you coming in here and repinning a bunch of other people's content. We want you providing content and we want you to provide it consistently. And so this is an important element that a lot of people miss out on because they're pinning their blog once a week and just hoping and crossing their fingers that that's going to work. Pinterest wants us showing up every single day on the platform. Luckily, we can schedule content. It's super easy, and I'm going to walk you through how I use it in just a bit. But they also want us to provide variety. Now, unlike other platforms, the variety is a lot easier to sustain because we are just creating new graphics, playing with new keywords, writing a new title. Think about like variations rather than something brand new every single day. And again, I'll walk you through my strategy. It's going to make a little bit more sense in a minute. But it's important to note that consistency is important on the platform. They're relying on you to provide the content for their non-business users. All right. Okay. The third thing, and again, pop your questions if you have anything coming up for you about anything I've talked about so far. The third element is just like all platforms, and please don't come at me, trends are important. Okay, I know we're so tired of trends, trending songs, trending dances, trending cap cuts, trending. I get it. I'm tired of it too. But trends are very different on Pinterest. When I mention trends, I want you to think more seasonally and really looking again at the data. Again, Pinterest is such a powerful platform. They're giving you so much data to work with. They have a trends tool that you can use to find out what months is a certain search term trending up based on years of experience, or is something starting to rise that you maybe didn't think of. I'll give you a really good example. I've been talking and teaching brand storytelling for years, for 8 years on this one. I have been teaching brand storytelling, a lot of brand foundational storytelling, but also storytelling in your content. Okay. And recently I released a storytelling course earlier this year. And when I was going in and creating a bunch of content for that, I started to look at trends and research. And I noticed that digital storytelling was starting to rise. And this was thanks to the tools on Pinterest. This was also thanks to some Google tools that I use as well. So I decided to really play with that type of verbiage, those keywords, digital storytelling. And I had multiple pins go viral in just a week or two of posting. And they're still continuously performing so well because I was able to look at the data and see, wow, this is a search term that people are starting to use that they weren't using in the past. So this is a great example of how trends can be really beneficial. Unlike other platforms, specifically social media, the trends don't die. They might level out a little bit and they might go up again. But again, your content keeps performing for years and years to come. So even if you are going to tap into a trend, that trend is going to sustain you, like I said, for years. So trends are really important, but again, it's looking at them in a very different way than what we see on social media. And as we mentioned, it's keyword focused, just like we talked about in the beginning. So far we've talked about obviously why Pinterest is so important. We talked about the importance of keywords. It is everything on the platform. You skip it, you're not going to be successful. Okay. We talked about having a business account and what that really means in terms of consistently showing up and your frequency of pinning. We also have talked about trends. Okay. And the importance of really paying attention to those trends. Now, trends are something that I do every single week, and we'll talk about that a bit. It takes me 5 minutes max to go in there, pop in some of my keywords to see what's going on as I'm planning out my week. Now, the fourth essential, key element is variety. It's important to experiment. It's important to play. Pinterest is a visual platform. So I would say keywords number one, right? A lot of people say visuals number one, but you can have the most amazing visuals and horrible keywords, and it's not going to matter how pretty something is. It's the same way with your website. You can have the most beautiful website, but if you don't know how to drive traffic to it, it doesn't matter because nobody's seeing it. Okay. This is where Pinterest comes in. So I really think keywords is number one, but number two would definitely be the visual element. So we're always experimenting with a variety of pins. We're always experimenting with a variety of content. What I mean by that is different titles. We might have a blog that we know is doing really, really well, and we want to experiment with different ways we're talking about it or different keywords that you're using. We might play with different sizes of Pinterest graphics, really long, a little bit shorter, medium size, carousels. There's a lot of different variety to create, as well as colors and photos. We play a lot with personal brand photos because I'm obviously a brand strategist. I got a lot of personal brand photos and stock photos. We play with video. To me, this is really fun because it allows me to use my creative side so frequently with the platform without being obsessed, obsessed that oh, I'm posting this one post today on social media. I got to get it right because if I don't, no one's going to see it. With Pinterest, that's just not how it works. That pin might not do well for a couple weeks, and then you look back a week later and it's got thousands of impressions. So I'm all about playing and experimenting with different sizes. I typically will stick with a couple templates. 3 templates is what we teach our clients inside of Pinterest Mastery. 3 templates that we create with Canva. They have free templates, y'all. You do not have to be a graphic designer. You do not have to be good at this. They have amazing templates that work fine. And we'll kind of rotate through those for about 30 to 60 days. And then we'll look at the data and I'll be like, ooh, this one's performing really, really well. We're going to keep using this one. This one's not performing so well. Maybe we change it up a bit. And so we get to also play with this variety. It keeps this fresh. I love it as a creative person. I'm not a designer. Okay. I've taught myself design because I had to as a solopreneur. And I've been blessed with a husband who just has a really great eye and he's kind of taught me along the way, but I am in no way a designer. But I love the creativity of playing with certain things and seeing how they do on the platform and letting my personality come through. It's a really great, I think, expression for me. So if you are someone who is like that, I love that we can play with the variety on the platform. But again, from just a testing principle, it's really nice to test different sizes, different colors, all of these different things to see what's working well for your account. And Pinterest loves it. It gives you more content to work with, okay? Which ties back to the consistency that we talked about before. So those are really the four key elements. And again, a lot of people forget so many of these. Most of the things that I see happening on Pinterest, again, as I've mentioned, is someone will post maybe once or twice a week. They have a new blog post and then they just post and hope that it works out for them. Or they aren't using the proper keywords, right? They're not using the proper keywords to optimize their account. Now, what I recommend my clients do is that my clients are posting every day. We teach different phases inside of Pinterest Mastery. So, phase one is just one post a day. And we're going to talk about how to do that. Phase two is adding in additional on the weekends because we find that, users are just, it's higher on the weekends on Pinterest. And then the third is to elevate and start adding additional pins every single day. You can't do all of that at once. You shouldn't do all of that once. You can slowly phase it out. This is something that I teach with all things marketing. Phase out your dang marketing. Don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning. All right. Now, before I get into what I do every single week, which is going to tie on the things that we just talked about, but I wanted to show you how easy this can be, I want to answer some questions. So I have a question over on YouTube from Patricia. Thank you so much. She says, I do not have a website, but I do have a Facebook page for my business. Will it work for that? Great question. Let's talk about this. Okay. It would work for that. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll say. You can send traffic anywhere you want. There's a lot of people who are Amazon affiliates and they might have an outfit or something and a board with their outfits and send that over to Amazon. You might be really wanting to build up your YouTube channel and you want to send that traffic over to YouTube. Maybe it's a Facebook page. But however, I want you to think big picture marketing here. I am a firm believer that every single business should have a website. It can be a free website. It can be a single page website. It could be a Canva website. I don't care what it is, but I'm a firm believer that every single business should have a website. Why do I believe that? Because your website is your domain. It is where you control the narrative. It is where you can present your brand in the way that you want to present your brand. It's where you control the direction, the messaging, the roadmap. You can work with clients at every stage of the buying process. Because remember, your ideal customer could be just in, I have a problem, I have a symptom, but I don't know what it is. I'm looking for resources to, I know exactly what I want to buy. And having a website allows you to help them at every stage of the buying process. Give them information that they need, your story, resources, your blog content. We'll talk about that. Your freebie, a way to contact you, your services, your product, your website is a goldmine. And Pinterest was designed to send people off the platform. That's why it's so powerful. That's one of the things I forgot to say. Unlike other platforms like social media, people don't want to leave. They want to stay on the platform. But Pinterest was not made for that. It was made to send people off the platform. And there's no better place to send them but your website. Also, you verify your domain. So if you verify your domain and you're sharing content from that domain that you own, it tends to do better on the platform overall than sending them to a Facebook page. So that's the first thing that I want to share with you. Now, when it comes to Pinterest, there is the element of core content. This is something that I teach. I did a recent YouTube video. If you haven't seen it, it's all about your visibility plan. If you're on Instagram and you want to see it, just type new in the comment and I'll send you the link for that. If you're on YouTube already, hey, after this video, you can just click over and watch it. This is going to walk you through a whole big picture visibility plan, starting with core content. So Pinterest has elevated a lot over the years in adding things like carousel posts, similar to what we might see on Instagram or Facebook, as well as video content. But as I mentioned at the beginning, at the end of the day, it's going to be more beneficial for your business to get people over to your website. So having this core content on your website, whether it is a podcast, whether it is a blog, a video, all of the above, something I teach inside of that YouTube video on how to do all of that using AI, okay? It's going to be more beneficial for you overall. My Alexa's talking to me. It's going to be more beneficial to you overall because one, it's your content that you're creating, that you're providing your ideal customer, getting them onto your website where they can, again, find any and everything that they need. Number two, it's going to help that individual who might be at the beginning stages of the buying process, meaning they aren't quite sure what they're looking for. They don't exactly know if they are looking for this particular resource. They don't know how to solve their problem. When you have this really powerful content on your blog, on your website, guess what? It helps them come to the realization of what they need. And then your product, your brand, your service is right there ready for them to rock and roll. One of the things that we see a lot with Pinterest and with my Google traffic, as I mentioned in the beginning, that's my number one driver for one-on-one work, is people will inquire about working with me. And we ask them, how did you find us? What makes you want to work with me? And one of the things that they say is, well, I read your blog, or I watched your video, or I listened to your podcast and I knew that you were the person that I wanted to work with. That content helps close the deal, my friends. It helps make the sale. It's not just there to bring in people, to have them help them discover your brand and what you provide. It's also there to help make the sale. And so I know there's a long-winded way, Patricia, of saying this, but I think it's really important to know, yes, you could drive traffic to your Facebook page, but it's going to be more beneficial for you as a business owner to get a website up and running. The platform that I recommend is Squarespace. You could have a website, a single page website ready to rock and roll in as little as 3 days. They have templates, you pop in your colors, you add some copy, you put your things on there, and you can build it as you go. But just start with like a single page and then start adding your blog content or your core content on there. Again, I did a whole video last week, a brand new YouTube video all about a visibility plan. If you want to check it out, it's over on my YouTube channel. If you're on Instagram, you want me to send you the link, just type new in the comments and I'll send it to you after we are done. All right. Let me know if y'all have any more questions about what we talked about, and then I'm going to share what I do every single week on the platform after I take some coffee. Okay, beautiful. I said this was a coffee chat and I've had one sip of coffee because I'm talking. It's impossible to drink coffee and talk at the same time. All right. What do I do every single week? So every single week, I'm creating a core piece of content. Now, again, this core piece of content isn't specifically for Pinterest. This core piece of content I am using for a podcast, my YouTube, and a blog. I talk about it inside of this video. I'm not going to talk about the whole visibility plan. You can definitely watch that new video that I talked about over on my YouTube channel. But I have this core piece of content. So every week I am going over to Pinterest and I know that I need to share this new piece of content. So I'm going into my Canva where I have my templates already set up and I am looking at my keyword that I've already established. Like I said in the beginning, my Pinterest planner, something we offer inside Pinterest Mastery. It's right there. I know what keywords work for my brand. And I am going in and I'm creating my designs. Okay. I would say the creation of the designs probably takes me about 20 minutes. Again, the designs, the templates are already ready to go. They're already in there. I am just changing out the copy and changing out a photo, maybe a color, depending on what template I'm using. If you go over to my Pinterest, you can actually visually see this, right? You'll see that I'm using a very similar style throughout all of them. It just changes with the content. So it takes about 20 minutes for me to do about 7 of these. All right. And I am creating 3 to 4 for the most recent blog that I did. And then I am using a couple extra minutes to do some research, about 5 minutes, like I mentioned, to go see what's trending. So I'll pop over into Pinterest trends. I'll see what's trending. I'll decide, all right, do I have some older content that I could repurpose? This is why I love the platform, because I can go find a blog post from 2017 and I can make it fresh over on Pinterest, create some new pins and reschedule them on the platform. And so we're always looking at trends first to see what's happening. Recently brand photo shoots were really taking off. I have a blog post from 2017 that does a lot on Google. I have another one on 2019. So I created some fresh pins to just send people over to that blog post. The second thing I'm thinking of, if I'm not seeing anything with the trends that's really hitting home for me, or I have something coming up where I'm like, ooh, I really want to get this podcast out there, this old one. It's really relevant right now. It's seasonal. Or I have a new freebie that I want to pin, right? We're doing a variety of different things. So I'm always thinking about kind of what's happening in my business that week, seasonal and trends. Again, that only really takes 5 to 10 minutes. And I've created all the pins, which is about 20 minutes. All right. Then I'm going into Pinterest and I am uploading all of my pins into Pinterest. I am using my keyword planner to type out my title and my description. The title, again, it's keyword focused. So like you already have the data right there. If I'm doing something on brand photo shoots, I'm going to use the word brand photo shoot in my title. If I'm doing something on digital marketing, I'm going to use digital marketing in my title. So you already have this research done in your Pinterest planner and you can just pop it in there. The description is usually more conversational. Put the link in there. Love me some hashtags. Pick the board that I want to pin it to. I do that for all of them, and then the dates, and I schedule them off. It takes me about 1 hour, sometimes less, honestly, sometimes more if I'm doing additional pins. But what's happening here is I am now making sure that my new content is getting distributed on a platform that's going to keep performing for years to come. I am able to revive and repurpose old content that I put my heart and soul into and make sure that people are still freaking seeing that. I can tap into trends to really help things go viral a lot faster on the platform. I mentioned this with digital storytelling earlier. And I'm able to do that and then shut my computer and know that that stuff's going to keep working for me even when I'm not. Now, Pinterest is just a piece of the visibility plan. Again, you have this core content on your website. So definitely check out that video over on YouTube because it talks about the big picture, how you can use that content to then post on social media. If you're doing video, I share my top tips for actually using AI to create video content and schedule video content. Again, big picture. What are we working towards overall? A sustainable marketing strategy. Don't do it all at once. Slowly, progressively inch your way into it. Elizabeth over on YouTube says the visibility plan video is great. It was my intro to you. I love that. Yay. Thanks, Elizabeth. I'm so excited that you're here. Speaking of, search engines, YouTube is one as well. I'm obsessed with search engines. Y'all watch that video. You're going to learn why. Elizabeth also says, does Pinterest now have a planner? I use Tailwind. Elizabeth, great question. So I use Tailwind for years, but I am a very simple person, and keeping up with multiple apps, I don't know what it is, but sometimes it stresses me out. So a couple of years ago, I wanted to really test how my content did versus scheduling native on the platform. And we noticed at the time that my content that I was scheduling on the platform using their scheduling tool worked a lot better than content that I was scheduling through Tailwind. Now, I've heard other people say the opposite, so I think it's really important to test. But once I started doing that, I was like, well, this is super easy. Like, using their scheduler is so easy, and it's just right there on the platform. So I actually don't use Tailwind anymore. I just simply go in and schedule my content in there. So it doesn't have like the visual planner, like Tailwind does, where you can kind of like drag and drop it into like different, calendar things. You have to select your date and then it'll show you like all your content scheduled for the week. But it's really simple to use. And it's what I usually recommend for people who maybe don't want to invest in a third-party platform. You don't have to when it comes to scheduling your content. The other thing that I think is really important that has really changed over the years with Pinterest, like I said, I'm obsessed with this. So I'm always looking at the trends and what's working and what's not and all of that, is because of the trend tool and because the way things change, I think it's important that we are scheduling our content weekly rather than monthly. So we actually used to ourselves and teach my clients how to use Tailwind to schedule a whole month of content. But then we were missing trends and things that might be happening that, we weren't aware of. And so just like other platforms, I think it's really important to pay attention to those things. I think the trends really started taking off on the platform with video content as well. So that's just some things to keep in mind. I still have a lot of clients who use Tailwind. They love it. It works for them. But just know if you are getting into Pinterest, it's not necessary to use a third-party platform for scheduling. All right. What other questions do you have for me? Let me know. One of the reasons I'm doing this video today, because there's always a reason, right? I'm a business owner, is that I do have a program called Pinterest Mastery. This is something that has been available inside of my membership Brand Mary Academy for years. I started Academy in 2019. So since 2019. And I always update it as part of the membership. I'm always updating it. We're adding new strategies. I think I've re-recorded Pinterest Mastery like 3 or 4 times because of all the updates and staying on top of it. Well, this year I decided to pull it out of the Academy and offer it as a standalone product in my summer shop. So if you are interested in getting started on Pinterest, you want the step-by-step process, how to set up your account, how to do your keyword research, how to set up your boards. Your board titles matter, your board description matters, how to get started with your boards in the best way so Pinterest knows exactly how to categorize your content, how to understand board pin relationship, create your pins, schedule your pins, all of those different things, understand video marketing on the platform. I teach all of this inside of Pinterest Mastery. It really is start at the beginning, re-optimize your account if you've been on the platform before, start fresh, all the way to sustainable marketing strategy. And as I mentioned, it includes updates. So this is one of the things I always provide with my marketing courses because marketing platforms always change. If this is something that you're interested in getting your hands on, this is the last week to grab it in the summer shop. It was a little limited run. So you can go to brandmerry.com/summer. It's BRANDMERRY.com/summer. And you'll see Pinterest Mastery right there at the top. You can go ahead and snag Pinterest Mastery. And there's a special bonus if you join before Sunday when it disappears. I'm also going to give you your first 5 board recommendations. So I've had people fill out the form. I'm going to dive in after this video and start dishing them out for everyone. But after you purchase Pinterest Mastery, you're going to get a link to a form. And in that form, you're going to tell me about your business. You're going to tell me about your products and services, your content, your ideal customer. I'm asking you all the important branding questions, my friend. And then I'm going to go into Pinterest and I am going to do keyword research. And I'm going to say, these are the 5 boards I want you to start with. We always recommend you start with 5 to 10. I'm going to tell you what 5 boards to start with. I'm going to tell you what to call them for your brand. And then Pinterest Mastery will teach you how to get them set up and optimized correctly. So I'm taking a lot of the beginning pressure off of you. And it takes me 10 minutes because I've been doing it for a long time. So again, if you get into Pinterest Mastery before Sunday, you're going to get that special bonus. I'm going to also pop it in the chat. I can't do it in obviously Instagram. So you'll have to spell it yourself or the link is in my bio. But brandmerry.com/summer. That's the full summer shop. But like I said, highly recommend if you're here today, you're obviously Pinterest curious. You're hearing about it everywhere. Everyone's talking about Pinterest. And I'm happy that people are talking about Pinterest. But I think it's really important that we are really thinking about Pinterest in how it has changed over the years and investing in individuals, I'll just say myself, who have been using it for a long time because Pinterest changes frequently. And there are things that don't work anymore that people are still doing on the platform that I see them teaching. And I'm like, duh, stop doing that. That's not helping you. And it's a powerful tool and you can have success really fast on the platform. But I think, and I say this a lot, look for receipts. Like who's been doing it a long time. So if you're interested in using Pinterest in this way, know that this is available to you. If you have any questions about the program, if it would work for your business, I really think Pinterest works for every type of business, but feel free to send me an email or shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll tell you, like we'll have a whole conversation about it if it's the right program for you. What other questions do you have for me? I want to make sure that you feel really supported before I end this live stream and take my son to camp. Multitasking. Right before this video, I was working out, which is why I still look and am secretly sweating. But I'm here and then we're going to switch into mom mode and go to camp. Any other questions that I could answer that would help you better understand Pinterest, how it could work for you, remove any of the confusion if you've been on the platform or attempted it at all? Let me know. And again, definitely check out that visibility plan video. It talks big picture visibility for your brand. If you're just getting started, it's so important. Social media isn't the only way to build your business. It's not even my number one recommendation because what happens when you get off social media? What happens when you want to step away or need to step away? Do you still have content that's working for you and driving traffic to your website and your business? Most likely not. That's where these platforms come in, specifically Pinterest. Okay, we've done a good 40 minutes now. I think that's long enough. What do you say? Okay, if you have any additional questions that you didn't want to ask live, I also welcome you to send me a DM. And you can do that via Instagram or you can send me an email. So someone just asked over on YouTube, where is the visibility plan? It's on my YouTube channel. So you're already on YouTube, Patricia. So just go to my YouTube channel and it's right there. It's going to be right under new videos, but I'll also pop the link in here as soon as this video is over. I can't do it. I can't find it right now. So I can't do it while I'm live and I don't want to mess up the live stream. But I'll pop it in the chat for anyone who's watching the replay. Again, if you're on Instagram and you want to see it, go ahead and type new in the comments or send me a DM and I'll get you the link. And yep, it's just over on my YouTube channel. You can go to brandmary.com/YouTube to see all of my videos. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you inside of Pinterest Mastery, see your name come through so I can get you some board recommendations. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I will see you all in a couple weeks. We're going to talk about SEO next time. All right. Bye.